Okay, so we were talking about James P. Johnson. So we had a little bit of internet connection issues there, but we're going to talk about what do you think of him? He was one of the first piano players that I heard after I listened to Louis Armstrong plays W.C. Handy. He was the next
Yes,
one I just listened to.
yes. He was a fantastic pianist for all account. Well, I heard some recordings, but apparently the recordings don't do him justice. So he was one of these two-fisted great Harlem, uh, bigger than life giants of piano. I used to play some of his things. I learned the Carolina Shout.
Oh, so you learn a little bit of the stride style?
Oh yes, I play stride. I played ragtime quite a bit. I went through Scott Joplin and yeah. Because I think I may have mentioned that when I moved to Finland and they labeled me as a jazz piano player, I said to myself, I better start learning from scratch. I better start taking it seriously and learn everything, history of the jazz piano, history of jazz music. So I couldn't afford to be an amateur anymore. You know, start
Yeah.
taking it seriously. So I got as many records as I could, and which I loved it anyway. But Carolina Shout, that was uh, James P. Johnson masterpiece, and I learned Fats Waller's version, which was
Oh
even
yeah.
even better and clearer. What he played, very 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 good recording. So I could learn it from the record. Uh, I don't play it anymore, but I used to play it. Actually, I did a concert. Let me see. Maybe it's 2 years ago. Maybe here in Mariehamn, they have this. They opened the museum, and they wanted me to play uh, the. Well, we shouldn't say antique, but the older style music that was composed like in the 20s.
Oh right. Okay.
So yeah, so I had the whole concert. First, I didn't want, I refused, because I said, yeah, you want to get something like this, you got to invite Dick Hyman.
Yeah.
You know who Dick Hyman is?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I said, that's who you want. You want Dick Hyman.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
He's got yeah.
but they said, no, we don't. We don't have we don't have any money or inclination to invite people from America. You should do it. So I said to myself, okay, this is a project, so I will do it.
Sat down and
So I practiced all those things. I revived some of those things, and of course I played some of the Duke's things, but solo. So I kind of got back to a little bit of ragtime. But you need to do some stride anyway. It's a part when you play solo piano. It's a part of playing solo piano. And as
right.
I might have mentioned at the time in New York, when I started going to New York, there were quite a few people that played. Dick Hyman would be one of them. Dick Wellstud and Ralph Sutton, and even partially, one can say Jackie Byard, and a couple of other people that played in that style. That played at least part of what they played was stride.
Right. So this is the next one, Vladimir, which everybody knows. This guy,
Wow.
Art
Wow.
Tatum, and he was probably the next one I discovered where I think it was Les Paul who said that he was playing piano, and when he heard him play,
Yeah.
he quit piano and picked up the guitar. Right.
He switched the guitar. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So tell us about
No
him.
such luck for
I
me. I
mean,
can't play
it's
guitar.
unbelievable to
So,
listen to that guy play.
well, what, what is there to tell? He was phenomenal, phenomenal musician who lived to play the piano. From what I understand, he played piano day and night. Um, uh,
And he was an expert at playing solo.
yes,
I mean, a
he
lot of his
was not
stuff
a
is by
group.
himself.
He was not a group. So he was, yeah. That was a group a group playing was not his forte. He was not particularly great at playing in a group. He just had so much to say that he would play all this piano behind anybody. So, having said that, there are some records with some horn players like Ben Webster that could adapt to. They just played less and listened to him. So, but it was always to be his way. He was the master, and of course, most of the people that made records for him, with him for normal grants, they were in such awe of him that they just followed what he was doing. And talking about first takes, he usually recorded all these things. I have this, at least I used to have this big Norman Granz collection of this all of his masterpieces. Thank God Norman Granz had the good sense to record him extensively. And from my understanding, they were all first takes. He just was playing, and they kept recording him, and then he just kept going on. But many of these things that he recorded, lots of people don't realize, some of those things were really set arrangements. He was not always improvising. Some of the things were exactly almost like classical pieces. He had this arrangement in his head, and he would play certain things almost exactly. So, but he's his own category. You cannot talk about jazz pianists and talk just about him, because and this is a paradox, if I may say so. If you think of jazz piano, and so many people said he was the greatest jazz pianist of all time. But if you learn to play just like him, you couldn't work any place except maybe in some hotel or bar playing solo piano, because that's not what today's demand is for a piano player playing in a band. You couldn't play like Art Tatum. Nobody would hire you.
Right.
So that's a paradox. He's the greatest jazz pianist of all time, but nobody would want you. You could only play
sad, but yeah.
like for a cocktail in a bar.
Well,
Isn't that funny?
It is. It's crazy. But what I would say is that as far as he could play so fast, but the person, and this is the record you recommended to me. You recommended that I get this one, and Oscar Peterson, right?
You were not disappointed, I hope.
This was fantastic, and I did the review of this one with that. This has got some great songs on here. So, but he, I would say, is one of the technical. I sometimes I listen. I can't believe how fast he's playing, and it sounds so effortless.
Oscar could play. Oscar was more of a group piano player, much more than Art Tatum, I would say. Yes, so I was not there anymore. I knew he came
in Russia.
You know the story, right?
I don't know the story of this. No, of this.
Well,
no.
He came to Russia. Yeah, he came to Russia. Well, he played in Tallinn, and he never got to do the whole tour because they treated him very badly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was some political thing between Canada and Russia. Something like I don't want to give you wrong information, but like some hockey team Russian hockey team that came to Canada, they had some problem. There were some political movements at the time.
Okay.
So they got booed or protested or something. So Russia.
Wow.
So when Oscar came, because he's Canadian,
right,
they treated him badly, and they put him, for instance, in a hotel. I used to stay in that hotel. I know how terrible that hotel is.
Wow.
They used to, they used to have like some farmers that coming from countryside staying in that. When I was young and we were touring one time, all the hotels were full, and we stayed there. I stayed, so I know. I'm saying, not Oscar Peterson. He couldn't be possibly staying there. They put him not in one of the great hotels in Moscow, but put him with the farmers someplace. So they were already, and there was many other incidents I heard that happened to them. Some things got stolen from Norman Grant's wife. Some
Oh wow.
clothes, some other things. So there were many incidents, and they decided just to cut it off and cut off the tour and go and just and there was a big scandal because the Russians already advertised his tour and everything, and they just Norman Granz, they wouldn't take any crap, and they decided just to get out. And I heard they would even almost physically try to stop them from leaving country. So
Wow, I
they
heard
just
Norman Granz was very
took the
good.
first plane out. Was that?
I heard that
Well,
Norman
the first
Granz was always
concert,
very good to
that's
his
what they
musicians.
recorded again. Oh yeah, he was excellent. Yeah, oh, he was excellent. I got to meet him briefly, but nothing to do with me. He came to Finland one time and recorded Dizzy with Arturo Sandoval. They made two trumpet records. I was not on that, but Norman Granz came to Finland a few times with Oscar. I also saw him, so I met him, said hello, but that's it. But of course, I always knew. Of course, I know a lot more about him because there's a book that came out about him, and there's many memories from the musicians.
Yeah, I read it.
That worked for him. Yeah, you read the book, yes, yeah. He was wonderful, and of course he had such a wonderful taste in music. He recorded all the best people. We don't even need to say Tatum, Ella, Billie Holiday, Charlie Parker, you name it, they worked for him. So, and he was very fair in paying people and always great accommodations. So yeah. We don't see people like this anymore. And he knew music. He knew all about music.